Hi, and welcome back to Beyond the Monsters. Today we have Sana here with us.
Hi,
Good.
how are you?
How are
I'm
you?
doing great. It's so good to be
I
here.
know.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
So tell me, is there room for me to cry? Is the devil all inside my mind? I don't wanna die like this. I wanna live my life.
All right, you're going to share your story. Start wherever you're comfortable.
Yeah. So let me just tell you what do I do,
Okay.
and where I am right now. So I work in pharmaceutical clinical research. That's my full-time job. And we run clinical trials, and I've been in this field for about 20 years now. And I am just starting out my coaching business. And so I am in the process of getting my life coach certification. I
Cool.
am a mom of three. And I moved here when I was younger as part of my parents moved to the US as immigrants from Pakistan. And so, that comes with a little bit of set of challenges of its own. But with that being said, I'm going to start with where I really kind of woke up in my life as to where I was in that certain situation. So this was a few years ago, 4 years ago from now. I found myself in it was a situation where I just couldn't deny anymore. I was just so sad, so unhappy with my life, and so unhappy with who I was becoming. And that's when I was forced to face it. It was like my entire life I was living this program that was given to me by, culture, tradition, family, everything. Um, and I was living it with this just autopilot. And I knew all along that I'm not happy, like it was like this deep feeling on the inside that
Mhm.
um, this is not who I want to become. And what I did was to shut that feeling down. I would do other little things, like shopping or like drinking, even that later on became involved a little bit more, and little things like that to numb it down. But it was COVID had just started, and so we were home more. And I'm 17 years married with my husband, who is now my ex-husband. I got married to him at a very young age. Um, and I just really had to face myself and like look at myself in the face and say, is this who you want to be? Like I was really, really unhappy. I was really unhappy with the situation that my kids were in because we both were just not a happy couple. So the effect that it was having on the kids
You're
was
witnessing.
huge.
Yeah.
And I was just using different things to kind of make myself happy,
Hmm.
and becoming a bitter, angry person too, on top of that, because I was not happy, so I was constantly then yelling at him or yelling at my kids or um, getting to the point of just exploding all the time. And so then I just faced myself and I was like, what are you doing, and it was like this inner voice inside of me that I just couldn't ignore anymore. And so to backtrack to the story a little bit is I got married at the age of 19. And in our culture, a South Asian culture, we have arranged marriages. And that was something that I knew that it has to happen to me. Arranged marriage is something, growing up, it was like my sister got arranged marriage, my brother got arranged marriage. It was like, okay, you are going to get an arranged marriage. And I moved to the US when I was 5 years old, so I saw around me everyone, dating and, like,
Yeah.
choosing the person they wanted to marry and stuff like that, and I was like, "There's no way that I want someone else to choose my life partner," even if it's my mom, I don't want to
Was that
choose.
scary though? Even just thinking, oh, okay, I'm just going to marry this person because they said I have to.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary, and, like, I look at, like, how my sister did it, and I'm like, "How did she?" Like, that's a lot of courage, and the way
Right.
also we're raised, nobody teaches you how to deal with that situation, nobody teaches you how to, be in a relationship, what a
Right.
relationship would be like. How do you interact? How do you communicate? And you're going to a perfect stranger's house, and like he's your husband now, and
Yeah.
you don't even know how to act anymore. And a lot of the times, women in our culture, we don't work, we don't really go out that much, so we don't
Right.
have that much of interaction with other people
So
outside
there
of our
no date.
family.
There's no dating when you're younger.
There's no dating.
Okay.
No, there's dating to get married.
Okay.
So a lot of it is changing now too, and I think it's different from family to family as well. Some families are more modern or more different, but for my
Right.
family, what it was that there's no dating. There is dating for marriage, but it has to end up in marriage. But the dating is also like somebody chosen from the family.
Okay.
And so I was just like, there's no way I'm doing this. I was like 16, 17 years old, and I'm like, I am not going to do this. This is just not going to be my life path. And my focus was more on the fact that I need to choose my person, not on the fact of what type of person that would be.
Right.
Like
Okay.
I was a teenager, I didn't
Yeah.
really know what I was doing. So, I chose my husband, who I ended up marrying. We got married when I was 19, 20 years old. And everyone was like, no, he's not a good fit for you. And I was like, no way, like I just thought that I kind of knew that he's not, he doesn't have the values that I have, like growth mindset and um, being active and doing for the kids and learning and that kind of stuff. He didn't have that, but I thought I'm going to change him, which is also like a
Sure.
bad.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, of course, he loves me so much and I love him so much. We can do this, and I'm going to totally going to change him. It's going to work out. The most important thing for me was that it's my choice, which was coming out of, now that I look back at it, I think it was coming out of rebellion rather than a choice that is good for me.
Yeah.
So,
Were there consequences with you kind of being rebellious and saying, I'm choosing? Like, if the parents didn't choose, what did that mean? Like, were they upset with you,
oh
or
yes,
is
there was a
everybody mad at
huge,
you, or what? Like, what
yeah,
happens?
there was a huge emotional toll. And I
Okay.
think when I went in it, I didn't expect that much. I knew it was going to be painful. I didn't realize how painful it was going to be for me, as well as them. So, I did it. And after that, my family was like, okay, if this is your choice, that's fine. And so they did try to embrace me. But in the beginning, it was very, very painful, to see my parents like that, my siblings, very hurtful. And I was in so much pain just looking at them, being hurt like that. And just knowing that I brought this on
Yeah.
to them. And so from then on, subconsciously, I created this belief in my mind that no matter what happens, I have to make this work. I can't go back now, right? Like
Right.
I did all that. I just
Yeah.
hurt everyone. I just made this
Yeah.
huge decision. I just said, hey, you guys are not right. I am right.
Because I know what's best.
I know what's best
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And so it has to work. Like there's
Yeah.
no other option. And so pretty soon after the marriage, I realized that he's not what I thought he was. And it's, you don't really get to know a person when you're really dating them, especially when you're that young. And when you start to live together, you really get to know the habits, what they're like.
Mhm.
And I was living with his mom at that time, which was even worse.
Jeez.
And then I got pregnant right away, and then I gave birth to my son. I also didn't have a college degree because I had just graduated from my associate's degree. So in terms of what are we going to do and what kind of life we're going to live and what are we going to give to the kids and all that was like my thought process going on. But for him, it was mostly about, we're okay right now, it's the comfort. And so I was like, okay, he's not doing anything, so I have to do it all. And I knew I have to make it work. So I was just like, I'm going to become the superwoman. Subconsciously, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to be show everyone I made a really good decision, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this for everyone. So since then, I put on this fake persona of a completely fake life, which I didn't even know I was doing. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I was totally living this fake life where I would, hide the things that he was doing from my family and my friends. And I would, show up myself more. I started working really hard myself. I started going to college, and my daughter was born too, so I had 2 kids. And I would ask his mom, "Can you please watch the kids while I go to school?" And thank God she did. And I would ask other people as well, friends and family in the area, "Can you please watch my kids while I go to college?" I come home, and we also had, as a female in our culture, the responsibility falls heavy on women to cook and clean, because the men don't really do that much, especially in that family. The way he was raised was very much where he didn't really do much household related work.
Okay.
So I had to come back home and cook and clean, as well as, and then I would use the nights to study, because I had to keep up my grades, and I wanted to go to med school at that time. That was my ultimate goal. So I had to keep my grades up really good. I look back now at that time, and I'm like, I don't even know how I did it, because
how you were
it was
functioning. Jeez.
really, really hard time of my life. And I was also working part-time. I had a dental hygiene degree, so I was doing that too, because funds were really tight for them too. And I would, to be a good person and to not like be a burden on him, I would not ask him for money also, because he was working a little bit here and there, doing odd jobs. But I was like, you know what, I have to do my own. And I was providing for my kids and paying the bills, whereas he wants to use my credit card to buy things, and he doesn't really care about credit, because his credit is messed up, and in his mind, credit is not that important. And so just like things like that, which were so different in us, which was a priority for me and it wasn't for him. And I would just had to work twice as hard in order to keep up with it, in order to maintain it.
So he wouldn't even like watch the kids while you went to school and stuff? You had to find babysitters?
Not that much. He
Yeah.
did do a little bit, it wasn't completely hands off, but it was always work from my side. Like I always had to be like, "Hey, can you please do this?" I had to make arrangements before he watched them. And it was sort of like a burden type of a feeling,
Okay.
And when looking back now, I realize how much of my mistake in that it was too, that I was giving him the option of opting out of it by saying, "Can you please do this?" Like I was asking him a favor, which was completely wrong of me, because he's the dad.
They're his kids too. Yeah.
It's not. And I remember when later on I would tell my friends, and my friends would say, don't say babysitting. It's not babysitting for him.
Yeah.
For him, it's parenting.
Right.
It's such a big difference. And so
For
even
sure.
my mentality, so I realize now that it had to do with the beliefs that were also in me, and I also had these shared beliefs that maybe he had too, as that are in some of our culture, which is wrongfully placed, is that women are responsible for raising the child. It's not the husband's responsibility. But at the same time, if the woman's responsibility is to raise the kids and the man's responsibility is to work
And provide.
he wasn't doing that
Yeah,
part also
yeah.
that well, right? So I took that part on too. And then I worked really hard on my career and just finished school. Then I went to grad school, because, it was really hard to get into med school. And I was like, okay, I got to do a grad degree. And then I worked really hard for that, took out student loans for that. And also raising my kids. And he did do well a little bit in the middle with his business. He bought a business and he started doing well with it. But his issue is when something good happens, he would just relax and give up.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
He gets you comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be managed. It has to be maintained. It's a lifelong work. Nothing in life is just one time type of a thing.
Right.
You have to be on top of it. So then it failed. So that happened a few times with him. He would do something and it failed, and then he would do something and fail. And so that made me work even more harder. So now that I look back at it, I see the positives in it, even though it was the most hardest time of my life. If it wasn't for him being so not good at it, I would not have worked so hard to get to where I am today. And so, so then I worked really, really hard, and I got this opportunity of starting out as an intern in a pharmaceutical company. And I thought it was a great opportunity. It was kind of like medical, but not really medical, because, I started to feel like going to med school is going to be really hard with having 2 little kids. And so I pursued that opportunity. And at that time also, Everyone was telling me, my friends and him especially, saying you're not doing a right move. You're switching careers, because I was, wanting to I was also working in medical offices, dental offices, so I had that experience. And in that mentality also, they think that if you're a doctor, it's like, you like you've
Right.
achieved
Yeah.
everything, right?
You made it.
So it's also like a social status show off thing as well, which him and his family really wanted to do, that, our daughter-in-law is a doctor. And so I kind of went against all that, and I was like, no, I want to choose this career. And that also, now that I look back at it, I really feel like it was my intuition that I listened to. So there have been moments in my life that I look back at, which I'm really proud of myself for listening to that inner voice. And of course, there has been time where I didn't listen, right?
Sure.
But would like to highlight, because I feel like we shut that voice down, and I feel like that deep inner voice inside of us is always there. We just stop to recognize it, and we just find ways of pushing it down and numbing it, sometimes, even because it's hard to listen to it. So I worked on my career then, and then I slowly started to get, better in my career. I started to go up in the corporate ladder, and I started to improve. And we moved to a different state, and I started to just be able to provide a better life to my kids. And I felt like that made him even more comfortable, where he was just like, okay, now that she's got it, I don't need to do even more. And he relaxed even more, and I was getting worse and worse and worse emotionally, because I was trying so hard to change him, and I'm constantly working on making him do different things the way I want to, just like wake up early, be more responsible, take care of the kids, and like manage the house more, and like, help me with my responsibilities. I mean, at that point I knew that I'm not going to love him, like
Yeah.
it was something that in between these 17 years, I had come to terms with myself that it wasn't a good decision that I made. I am never going to love this person, but I have to keep up the facade for the family and the kids,
Yeah.
Also, it's hard. Divorce is hard. How am I going to do this? And in our culture, divorce is a big no-no. It's like nobody in my family has ever gotten a divorce. We had never heard of a divorce happening, even in our like far away friends and
wow.
families. And it's just kind of like seen as like a failure, and it's like my mom would really be ashamed to have to tell her friends that my daughter is divorced.
Ah,
So I was like, okay, that's completely out of options. That's not going to happen. So I got to make it work. And then I was just extremely unhappy. I was just so unhappy and just like really, really trying. And that's when I really hit rock bottom, where I just couldn't do it anymore. And I started drinking, because, it was the one way where I would be able to forget.
mhm.
It was the one thing that kind of helped me to sleep. I wasn't at like alcoholic level, but definitely to a point where I was dependent on it,
Yeah.
and dependent on it for having something that makes me feel like it's okay, something like kind of suppresses that pain
Yeah.
a little bit.
Mhm.
So that went on for a few years, and that's when COVID happened. And that's why, I feel like COVID was bad in a lot of ways, but it was also good. I feel like I've heard the story a few times from other people, especially in families, where being home and really facing the life that you're living instead of running away from it at that time has really woken people up. And so that happened for me, where I was just home. I wasn't going to work anymore. Before, I would go to the office and go out a little bit more. And so I was able to forget, but now it was just like in my face, and I also saw more of what he was doing. Which was he was also very much dependent on alcohol and a lot of just like laziness and sleeping and not helping out with the kids. And then I really started to look at his relationship with the kids. And that's when it hit me even more. And I was like, it's affecting my kids. And this whole time I had thought that I'm doing such a great job keeping it together, like my kids are fine. I am giving them what they need, but I wasn't it's not about money. It's not about material things. It was never about that. It was about the family life that they're seeing. It was about the love that we're giving them. All that they were seeing was us constantly fighting, bickering, and they were getting a mom who was angry most of the time.
Stressed, tired, all of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and um, I would say, bad words. Like, I was not into cursing my whole life, but now I'm cursing. Now I am just like also sometimes taking my anger out on the kids, and just like not being an unhappy person all the time. And then once I really realized that this is really affecting my kids, and is this what I want for myself? It was about the kids. It was also about myself, where I was like, I know it's going to be hard, but I have to do this. So that was when the enough is enough type of thing came to me, and that was really the first time in my life where I kind of reflected back on myself. All of the decisions that I had made in my life up to that point were um, thought out, and a little bit more of do this is going to be good, do this is going to be good, but not really looking more of into the deeper situation of what could have been better and what can I do now because I have learned this lesson from this.
Yeah.
And that was the first time where I really faced that in myself. And so I made the decision. Then I was like, I don't care whatever this is going to look like for my family, whatever this is going to look like for him. I'm going to do this. And I knew that it was going to be very, very difficult because the type of the person he was master manipulator, master narcissist, and very much of getting that pity feeling, getting people to feel the pity towards him. And so I mean, a lot of the times that I would believe him was because of some of that, but because I felt bad, and I believed that, okay, maybe this time he's going to change. Maybe this time, he's gone through this and this, and he's sad about this, and okay.
Sounds like you were always just trying to make sure everybody else was okay, and to please everyone else, family, him,
Yes,
and not
always
you.
Yes, completely, always about the external, and always about other people, and so I knew that part about him, he was going to make it really, really difficult as well, because he was very also controlling too in certain ways. And in our culture, some men also have this mentality that they own women. Like I'm his wife. I'm like his property.
Right.
So I broke the news to him, and then it was really hard, and he was just in denial for the longest time. I think he was in denial for like 6 months or maybe even a year. He just didn't believe it, because it was always like, and now that I look back at it, I think that all of the times in all those 17 years where I did ask him to change, and where I did really, really try to put my foot down and say, okay, you have to do this, you have to show up more for the kids, or you have to do something for work, he kind of always kind of maneuvered his way around it, and he didn't actually listen. He didn't actually get it. He didn't, just the same way when I first started talking about divorce, he didn't actually listen. He didn't actually get it.
He didn't want to.
He didn't want to. Yeah, it was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna be gone in a few months, just like it always does, and she's gonna scream, and she's gonna fight, and it's all gonna go away. But then I told my family, and this was the first time where I ever told my family anything, that that things are not all great.
Oh gosh, so they didn't know like this whole time, right?
They didn't know from me, but I think they knew. You could tell. It's not that hard to hide. There's some things they could tell, but it was kind of like they didn't realize that I would ever make this type of decision. They thought that it's enough for me to survive. But also in our culture, it's okay not to be happy and to survive, as long as you have, I wouldn't say in our culture, I would say some families, but it does stem from some cultural traditions, where it's like, okay, you have a house, you have money to pay your bills, what else do you need? And some of it also comes from, as an immigrant family, we came from Pakistan, so we didn't come from like that good. We came from humble beginnings, and then coming here and getting a better life and getting better opportunities. It's like, be thankful, be grateful for what you have. And it's like, and my parents did great, and I don't blame them for anything like that. And I think they have their challenges that they dealt with at their time the best that they could.
Oh, I'm sure.
And now our generation has our own type of challenges to deal with, right? So yeah, so I initiated my divorce at that time, and then I told my family about it, and I remember telling my mom was the hardest thing ever, and it was just so sad because it was also the blame that I had to take, like the shame and the guilt that I had to take on my own too, that you were right.
You were right.
You know,
Yeah.
you were right. I was wrong.
Like, I feel that in the pit of my stomach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when my mom said that to me too, I told you, you didn't listen to me.
You knew that was coming.
Right? I know. I was like, okay. And then we sort of came to an agreement where he did this whole manipulation thing again, saying, I'm going to change, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And he talked to my family and he was like, give me some time and I'm going to change and I'm going to do all that. But we came to an agreement where he agreed to living separately, because the house that we were living in, I was paying all the bills anyway, and I was doing everything for the kids anyway. So he said he would move out for a little while. So he did. But he still didn't really actually do any of the changes that I had wanted him to do. You know, even though that wouldn't have really made a difference for me. I didn't really care at that time. But what really came out of nowhere was the way I felt as soon as I did it. I was like, I'm telling my family that I'm doing this. And of course, I'm getting all of this, questions and like, why can't you just suck it up? Why can't you just do it? You have 3 kids. And how are you going to live alone? What are you going to do? At least there's somebody, he does give you some sort of help. There's a man in the house. And
So you were hearing it all.
so much everyone's telling me. And it's also more like, it's also the guilt that I'm getting, in that you are doing this for yourself. You are being so selfish right now. You are not thinking of the kids. You are not thinking of him. He is a person too. He doesn't have any other financial means now. He's going to be gone. And so why are you doing this? And then it was also the shame that I would bring onto the family of having a divorced to daughter. And so like it's a big taboo, right? It still is. And so that part of it too. And I was just like overwhelmed with all of these feelings. And I'm second guessing myself too. Like, should I do this? What am I doing? And it was so hard. And I spent like 6 months to a year in that spiral of trying to help myself get out of that. And I didn't realize it was going to be that bad. Like, I thought, I'm going to do this. It's going to be a little bit, I'm going to feel better. But I started to feel even worse with all of this guilt and all of this shame. And he, on top of that, made it worse with telling my family exaggerated things about me, which caused more guilt and shame towards me and for them. And they're like, oh, you're doing this because you don't like him anymore and you want to date other people. And this is the reason why you're doing this. And you shouldn't be even thinking about this at this age. You're a mother of 3 child, like it was like coming from all different angles.
Because he was feeding them a bunch of crap. And
yes.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, he was feeding them a bunch of crap. And then there were some secrets in my closet, right? Like the drinking thing is a big no-no in our culture as well. And he went and he told everybody about it. So that was also, yeah, of course he did. Yeah. And so that was also something which was like a shock to my family. Like, what are you doing? And, oh, this is the reason why you're doing this. You're so selfish, so selfish. And the thing about hearing that you are selfish and wrongfully believing it too, because I also had the belief. So now that I go back and I look at all of the things that made me feel like that was my limiting beliefs that I had, that I did believe also deep down that as a woman, I should choose my kids over my own happiness, that I am meant to be with one man my entire life, that we are supposed to suck it up, or that I am now doing this and this is really wrong, and that whatever my family is going to have to answer the questions to other people is my fault. These were all beliefs that subconsciously, I think growing up, you pick up. And so now I realize that now.
Yeah, when you're supposed to care about yourself so you can be the best version of yourself for your kids.
Exactly.
Nobody thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah. That right there. And I didn't think of that at all. And nobody even, brings that up. So At that time, I stumbled upon online social media where this app called Clubhouse, where I just one of my friends told me about it, and I went on there and I started listening to some people talk about mental health, and some people talk about how to get over trauma and how to get over these type of feelings, and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. So I started listening more and more and more, and every night I would just sit for hours and I would listen to these people and they're talking, and slowly I started to participate too, and I started talking about my experience, and I started to talk about how I felt, and I started to feel so much better. And then I was like, okay, I need to do this more. I need to get help. And that's when the door of help like opened up for me. And so I heard on there some people mention some books, like read this book, this is good for you. And so I read the book. And then I made a friend on there who later on became my co-host with the podcast that we both started. Yeah.
Oh,
So I started talking to her, and she had a very similar life story as mine. She was also from Pakistan, and she also had a long marriage where she was unhappy with. And so it felt so good just to talk to her.
yeah.
And then that's when I started to just go deep into this world of self-help. And I did everything that anyone recommended to me. And I think that's the best thing that I could have done for myself.
Yeah.
I did all the therapy that I could get my hands on. I read all the books that anybody recommended. I did all the exercises that anyone said. I did journaling, I did meditation. I just started to do everything, and it started to slowly make a difference. And I was just like, the one thing that somebody said to me was, what is the situation that you are in telling you that you need to become? And one of the hard things that I was facing at that time was also realizing that now I am fully alone. Now I am a parent of 3 kids that I have to raise alone. And I knew that he was never really a hands-on parent before, but I knew that after the divorce, he's going to be even more checked out.
Yeah.
So although I was still kind of doing everything on my own, just knowing that he was somewhat there in the background was kind of like a help, and also
Yeah.
someone that I could blame,
Right,
someone that I could
right.
yell at.
Yeah.
At least he was a human who was there and alive. And now that's gone too. So now that was also the sense of like responsibility. I have to do all of this on my own. And so that's when even more I was like, okay, I need to become this person. And so I created what I would look like, in my mind, what I would look like: a confident, successful person, being a single parent, and going through my divorce like I could. And that really helped. I mean, of course, it's not something that happens overnight, but it was something that I knew I could measure up to, something that I could look forward to, like a goal.
Yeah.
So I started really going into all the work that I needed to do, and the divorce process was becoming really, really hard. And he was making it really hard because he felt like I think his strategy was that the harder he makes it for me, I would pull out. And he was making it hard financially. And we were already in a house where it was hard for me to afford everything on my own, right? And that's why I was really pushing him to work, because you need 2 incomes,
Of course. Yeah.
like it's expensive here, and the kids were getting older, and you need 2 incomes to run a household if you want a good quality of life. And so it was already becoming really hard. And on top of that, now the divorce process, that there's lawyer fees and there's court fees, and there's all the kids' expenses are on me too. And now the kids are getting older. And so
So he doesn't have to pay like child support temporarily, anything to like help you?
no. And yeah, the laws really suck, the divorce laws in
Yeah.
this country. They're really bad. I found out later on as I went through it. And so being the breadwinner, it makes it really hard for whoever the
Mhm.
breadwinner is, because you have to support everyone the way you were supporting before. And a lot of our life, we were living off of debt. We were living off of loans. And that really only takes you to a certain point. It's
Right.
not sustainable for a long period of time.
Mm.
So it was going to end at some point. And now I had divorce on me too. Right. So, and that's when I stumbled upon spirituality. And it was like I had now find a little bit of sorry, peace in myself of with the divorce situation, with my family and with my own guilty conscience, I had found a little bit of peace there. But then I also had, what is my bigger purpose here in life? Like, what are we doing here? And what is the purpose of all of this pain that I'm going through and all of this work that I'm doing here? Raising kids on my own, and why? Um, and I did grow up in a strong religious family, but I felt like I wasn't really getting the answers from there that I wanted. And also it was like throughout the marriage, this fake belief of something is going to come and save me was also there, right? And it hit me hard when I knew nobody's coming, I have to do this myself. It was kind of very disappointing from a spiritual perspective, and like, God, where are you?
Right.
How come you're not helping me?
I
Like,
need you right
I
now.
need you. And so that had kind of really put me off with religion. And I had a science background from school anyway, so I was like focusing more on science and like focusing more on like being atheist and secretly being atheist, not telling my
Yeah.
family about it. But it just made more sense,
Right.
because it was more logical.
Yeah.
And it's like I wasn't seeing God helping me out in any sort of way before. And so then one of the people that we interviewed on our podcast mentioned how spirituality had really helped him out. And so then he mentioned the book, and I read that book. And it was just like such an eye-opener. And I started to look into more into limiting beliefs and on how in the design of the life is God, and it's it really just started out with just letting go, and just like kind of like trying to trust, and trust is so hard.
Yeah, it is.
So I just started to.
And it sounds like you probably didn't have a lot of faith in anyone through your marriage and everything. You were doing it all alone.
Yeah. No faith in anyone. And then also, like, when you grow up as a girl, you watch movies like Cinderella, or like, the knight in shining armor comes and saves you, or like the fairy
Yeah.
godmother comes and
You're
saves
like, where's
you.
mine?
Yeah.
I'm
I know.
neglected over here.
Exactly. It's like somebody has to come and do this.
Yeah.
And so that, I feel like that is something that we have, a lot of women do have in that, and I feel, and that's one of the works that I want to do is tell women that the guidance that comes doesn't come in the form of a fairy godmother. It doesn't come in the form of a knight in shining armor. It comes in subtle ways. It comes in a friend suggesting something, or like I heard somebody say something to me on the podcast, or even on social media, you're going to scroll through something. Like, it has to come through some subtle way, but the change and the movement needs to be done by you.
And you have to be open to it, right?
Open to it. And the change, you have to do the change. Nobody's going to come and hold your hand and walk you through it. It has to be you. But that's the beauty of it, because if you do it yourself,
appreciate it so much
that's
more.
when you appreciate it. And that's when you feel it.
Yeah.
That's when you actually feel the change, and when you're proud of it, when you're like, okay, this was me, but it's also through guidance, So I know that now I'm much better with that now, but in the beginning it was definitely hard. But that's what the first thing I did was in the divorce process. I was just like, okay, I know I am barely making it financially. I know he's pushing all the buttons. He's there was a time where my family wasn't talking to me because of all the things he told them. And I was very close with my family. So that was a very big hurt for me, that, they're not going to talk to me because he told them something. It was really, really painful. So in that time, I just said, I'm just going to live. I'm just going to go through this. I know I'm making this decision, and I'm going to stick to it. And I'll see whatever happens financially. I will see. I will deal with it. Whatever happens, even if I have to change our quality of life, if that's what God wants me to do, then fine, I will do it. And I let go. And it was really
probably hard.
It was really hard. And it was also, it wasn't the thoughts didn't go away, the
Yeah.
thoughts of fear and anxiety and like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? How am I going to pay for this? Well,
Mhm.
college is coming up in 2 years. How am I going to pay for that? I don't want my kids to feel like because I chose divorce, now their life standard has to change,
Yeah.
Like that was such a big hit that my kids would think that I am now giving them a lesser life because I
Yeah.
want to choose divorce. And so all of these thoughts were still there. They were all coming. But through the work that I was doing, all of the self-help work and the therapy that I was doing, I was able to work on my mind and work on my thoughts and really kind of realize that thoughts are not me. The thoughts are there, they have a reason and they do have a ground, but they don't define me. They don't define who I am. That's fear. And I am not going to be
Mhm.
defined by my fear, and I am not going to be defined by my pain. And knowing that there is guidance really helps to be
Yeah.
able to um, feel the pain, and just
Mhm.
listen to the thoughts without acting out on them. And so I spent the next 2 to 3 years in that, and it slowly started to get better as far as like my own dealing with it. But of course, the financial was really, really hard. It was really towards the end of it. But after 5 years of the divorce process,
Oh, geez.
we went through mediation, arbitration, which are the different stages. Um, and
Mm.
even at that point, even all the lawyers and the judge was sick of it too, because it was really becoming annoying because it was really easy to tell that he's stalling.
Yeah.
It was all that he was stalling, and their fees are racking up, and I had to take more and more loans just to keep paying for the lawyers and to
How was
keep
he
paying for the
paying?
judges. I know. That's what I was like so surprised at that too. But he had a lawyer who was a friend, so he was charging him very less. And also, I think he was borrowing money from his friends and families and stuff. So then after 5 years, we reached a decision finally. And it's so funny how I was really like right at the end of my point where I couldn't do anymore.
Yeah.
Like I was at the point where I couldn't take out any more loans. I couldn't do my both of my kids were about to go to college. I needed to pay for their college. I wasn't going to get any financial aid from the government because apparently my income is too high. And I was like like wouldn't be able to pay any more bills. Like I was really at the end of it. But that's when the divorce ended. That's when we sold our house and we liquidated the assets and were able to come up to a decision that he's going to get this much and I'm going to get this much. And so that just happened actually a few months ago.
Oh, wow. So this is like new.
This is very recent.
Wow.
Yeah, this is very recent. So we ended it, and it's more like for me to realize that the faith that I put in 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 the universe and in myself that I can do this, it really helped me to get through it. And so it turned out to be a pretty good settlement for me, and I think for him too. I think it was very fair. And I really worked hard myself in it too. Like I learned all the laws myself. I just studied everything because I was like, I need to do this myself. I was helping my lawyer come up with strategies. I was like, we got to do
Really?
this. We got to do this. We got
That's
to do
awesome.
this. Yeah. And I think that like in the beginning when I was just starting out, it was like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want it. You have to put in effort. Your mind has to be alert and focused in order to do these. House management, being able to pay all the bills and keeping up with all the kids' things they need, and my
Mhm.
work. Like I have a demanding full-time job. And being able to all the self-help work that I was doing too. The level of mental focus that you need to bring in, motivation, the inspiration.
Mhm.
I didn't have that at all in the beginning 2 years. But as I started to do the more work, it started to come to me that I wanted to. I was like inspired. I was motivated
Yeah.
to look into all the documents. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this myself. So I
And I
started.
just might go to law school too.
Right? Yeah. Divorce lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
For women only. So and so I really got involved in it myself, and I think that was also very helpful, because I think that one of the other lessons that I've learned is that it really, you need to do this, like, even though you can outsource services, you still have to be able to give oversight of whatever you're outsourcing out to somebody else, because there's no other way that anybody else would want, or be able to get you what you would get for yourself. So and then I've really started to focus on the healing aspect, because I feel like now that have just, gotten over that, there's all of that work that needs to be done to close that chapter. And so I started to do that in the last 1-2 years, also unknowingly, but that's where really I'm starting to study and make my focus on, and so that I can now do this for other women.
Love it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of like a
Yes.
entire summary.
No. Wow. You should still be celebrating.
Oh my gosh, I know, I am. It really feels so surreal. It feels like
Yeah.
I still can't believe it that we did all that, 5 years of the process, and the fact that now I am ending up in a better relationship with my family than I ever was.
Oh,
I
that's
was never
wonderful.
this close to my family before. It was always like, we never talked about feelings. We never faced all these elephants in our room of like, uh, me having to feel like I was pressured for an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
I ended up talking about that with my mom, and this was a very, very difficult conversation where I knew that I was wrongfully putting the blame on my family and culture for putting me in that situation. Because yes, there was a part to that, but what did I do with that? How did I show up in that?
Yeah.
If I had really stood up and said no, maybe it could have been something different. And I
But you were
didn't.
holding resentment.
I was holding a lot of resentment towards that. And I 17 years later, I admitted my mistake, but I could have admitted my mistake a few years earlier. But it took me this long because I didn't want to admit that I was wrong.
So you did a lot of work on yourself. So it makes it a little easier.
It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
But the first time I said it to my mom that I made a mistake, it was so hard. It was so hard.
Really?
And now I just say it all the time. Like, oh yeah, I made a
Yeah.
mistake. Yeah, so what?
Well, that's probably helped them to be more open with each other too.
Yes. It's helped all of us,
That's
like
a
my
big
siblings and
deal.
I. Yeah, it's helped all of us. And now my brother has also started talking about the problems that he's facing in his relationship. My sister also started talking about her relationship issues. And now we're all like trying to get counseling for them too, and trying to help, because
Yeah.
now we're also realize how much self-help can be helpful, because
course.
that's also a huge taboo. Nobody
Yep.
wants to go look for help because you need
Mhm.
help, And so the whole thing, now that I look at it from the aspect of what did it mean for me, like twisting the narrative and twisting the meaning of the plot, as in this happened to me. I was forced to be in a marriage. I was forced to arrange marriage, and I'm stuck in a marriage with a bad husband, and I'm being a single parent, instead of that saying to what was this whole situation teaching me?
Yeah.
What did this whole situation came in my life for me? And the fact that I worked so hard and I realized these abilities that I have, like so much resilience that I have. I didn't know I have the ability of staying up all night and studying and raising 2 kids. And at that time, I was 23 years old, and my friends were partying. My friends were all out having partying and going to clubs and stuff, and I'm at home with 2 kids and raising 2 kids and being a full-time college
And
student.
a husband I don't really like.
Exactly, a husband I don't like.
Yeah.
I can't be honest with everyone, and I'm
Right.
cooking and cleaning all the time for a family I don't even want to live with.
Right.
And I did that,
Yeah.
like just being so proud of myself for unlocking that in me, and unlocking that in me to work towards a career, like working towards being an executive in the corporate world. I never knew I could achieve that. And becoming a life coach. Like now I'm going to school to be a life coach. Like
Oh,
I am
yay.
I'm doing this certification, and so I'm
Well,
still a
you
student.
got the story to go with it
Yes.
to help people for sure.
Yeah. So
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I want to focus on women who are in similar situations, because this is like what I can, what I feel
Yeah.
like my strength is right now. But I do want to explore and go into different options of women empowerment, and how and not from the angle of women empowerment doesn't mean that we have to be the same as men. That's not the message that I want to give out, because that was, in my mind, that was one of my wrong thinkings growing up, because when I was a child in Pakistan, I saw women being treated differently than men, and it really bothered me. And so my goal was that um, I can earn money too. Just like you can, I can do it too. Let me show you. Okay, you know what?
Right.
I'm going to show you how I could do it better than you. It was kind of like that
Right.
ego mentality too.
Yeah.
And that's not what a woman's empowerment actually means. It just means to be confident in yourself and be able to be independent, but also know when you can be codependent, when you need to
Yes.
be codependent in a relationship as well. And if the man is a provider, that's okay.
Yeah.
I could receive,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean I'm lesser.
And not to discount it, and I know it's culture and stuff, but even if a woman does stay home and they are doing all the cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, I mean, that's all fine. But if that woman's not able to be her own being
Mm-hmm.
and have her own thoughts and just be able to be empowered, like you say, gosh, and not the thing that I've been thinking about while you've been talking about this is, in the culture where, it's an arranged marriage, some of those people never even experience love, real love, right?
Yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah, totally.
I mean, there's no guarantee like, oh, I'm going to fall in love with this
Yeah.
person.
It's more like over throughout so many years, you have so much time spent together. You have so much
Yeah.
memories. So it's
Right.
more like
It's like you love them as a
just friendship.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
But to
like
never get to experience that because something's arranged for
Yeah.
you,
yeah.
that's kind of sad.
That was also one of the things that really annoyed me my whole life. I was like, during my marriage, I was like, I'm never gonna be able to feel what true love is like.
Yeah.
Like that's it. This is how my life is gonna end. Because
Yeah.
love was a big thing I wanted when I was growing
Of
up.
course.
I would watch all these love movies as a child,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm gonna marry and have a great love, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't want arranged marriage too,
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm gonna have a great love.
Right.
And I ended up making a mistake, which is fine,
That's okay.
which was a learning experience. How can I know what love is when I haven't experienced it? So now at least I know what love isn't.
Yes. How are the kids?
The kids are okay. The kids
Yeah.
are they are understanding, and my older one is almost 20 years old now.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's they are at a point where they are mature enough to understand.
Yeah.
And it is a hard truth that we've had to swallow, that they would not have a normal family. Everybody wants that, to have a loving father and a loving mother, and I sometimes feel like guilty for that, or that I wasn't able to give my kids that at this time right now in
Right.
my life, right? But they have really matured up from the situation too, because it has taught them, and everybody has a different life path and a different different situation to live through. If we didn't have this, we could have had some other problem.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has some sort of a
Right.
problem in their life that they have to work through, and I think that this has really helped them also to realize that what is independence and what is dependence, and what does a happy family look like, and what do you
Yeah.
need to do for yourself. And that the fact that I did this, yes, I did do it for myself, and I did it for them, to give them a happier mom,
Yeah, they get the best version of you now.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
has to be exciting for them because you're probably totally different.
Oh my gosh. I can't, when I look at my pictures from 5 years ago, I can't even relate to that girl anymore. I'm like, I love that person of me, but I do think of me as a completely new person,
Yes.
as a total new person. I even took parenting classes, because even
Really?
yeah, I just anything that comes to me, it's like these are the things that are kind of like guidances that are
Yeah.
coming to me, that I just all of a sudden stumbled upon this podcast about parenting, and it was this really great coach who is amazing. Shelley Leftgate is her name, and I followed her and I took some of her classes, and I was blown away with the things that she's teaching about parenting. I was never taught this, and I never knew. I mean, nobody teaches you parenting, right? It's not something you kind of learn. But I was also a child myself.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up myself, so it was so hard to be a parent when you are yourself not grown up.
Yeah.
And I realized through the whole parenting classes that it's about parenting is like the kids are also teaching me something. The kids came in my life to make me kind of grounded. If it wasn't for the kids, I think I would be partying, or I don't know what I would be doing.
Yeah.
But it really made me realize the sense of humbleness, grounding, responsibility, and fulfilling that responsibility because of integrity. Not fulfilling it because I had to, because I was doing that. I was doing that for the longest time, just doing it because I had to, but doing it because I want to, because of my love for them.
Big difference.
Big difference. It's the intention that goes into it. And it's the purpose that you are doing it with. And huge difference. So yeah, I think that this is the best thing that could have happened, and I would have not done it any other way, not have kids or anything like that. So I'm really, really happy that they came.
I love that. I love just the change that you made.
I know.
That's just so empowering. I hope you have one daughter.
I have 2 daughters.
2 daughters. 2 daughters and a son. Wow. Now they can just look up to you.
Yeah.
Totally. Now, do they have to do an arranged marriage?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
Mom, stop that.
Oh, yeah. No, that stops in my generation. No, it's not going further. I mean, if there are, I just know other people who are my generation who want to do it for their kids, which is, everybody has their own decision.
It's their decision. Yeah.
And I have seen marriages where arranged marriage has worked. So there are times where it works. It's kind of like a matchmaking too.
Yeah.
At sometimes, my brother has a really amazing arranged marriage. They have really in love with each other. My sister-in-law and my brother. But I don't want that responsibility. It's like, I'm not going to find somebody for them. It's like,
what if it ends up like mine?
I know. It's a huge responsibility. I don't want to have to deal with that. You find your own, please.
Yeah. Are you open to love now?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I am open to it. I've been working on my own growth and, my own healing and my own development. But I feel like some of it has to happen, or a lot of it maybe needs to happen in a relationship. Like I can't just all be doing it all on like studying and books and like therapy and all that. I need to get into the action and do some in the real world too. It's I tried a little bit. It was a little scary, and then I backed off, and then I was like, okay.
Oh, it's definitely scary out there.
It's scary, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially going back after so many years.
Yeah.
And so then I said, okay, I'm gonna take some time off and work on myself a little bit more. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get back to it soon. I don't know. Yeah.
Good. Well, you kind of know what you want now.
Yes.
And you're, wow.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's a lot to go through. That's heavy. To all that responsibility to be on you, and you did so much work.
I know I did so much work, but I don't want to give the message that all of this work, or like, I have achieved so much and I got the career and everything, and I'm doing my coaching and I'm starting my business. You don't have to do all that. Like, it's not a goal that you need to achieve, or it's not a financial thing that you need to achieve in order to heal, in order to get what you want. You can be whatever you want to be, and you can be wherever you want to are. It's just about being at peace inside yourself. And a lot of it had to do with like I was talking about the beliefs. I didn't even realize that I had all these things that I believed inside of me. And once I learned about, and a lot of this I learned in the parenting classes that I took too, that our kids are automatically picking up these beliefs. So that's what we need to be aware of. Mm-hmm. And then I was also thinking of the beliefs that I picked up, this belief of you get married once, you only have one love in your entire life, or your woman's job is to cook and clean, or like you're not supposed to choose yourself. You have to please others. You have to think of what everyone else should be happy around you. It's my responsibility. If he is sad because he was really miserable the 4 years, and he was like really showing it because he wanted people to make a difference. I felt so guilty for that. But because he's miserable, it's not my problem,
Yeah, you're
right?
carrying all
I
that.
don't have to be, change what I have to do in order to make him happy.
Right.
So it was all these beliefs that subconsciously, and it's not like somebody sits you down and says, hey, you have to believe in this. You
Right,
have,
right.
nobody sits you down and says that. It's just automatically,
Yeah.
you just pick up. So it's all of this work of undoing that, and feeling where it came up in your life and made you feel sad.
Mhm.
And where did it feel, why did it make you feel sad, and what was the deep underlying belief of it? So I've been doing all of that for like the past year, and it's actually kind of fun. It's so fun to
Yeah.
getting to know yourself and to get to know these things about yourself.
Right.
And in the self-help industry, it's kind of hard to figure this out.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like, oh, get to know yourself, get to know yourself. Like, what does that
Like,
mean?
what?
Wait, what? Who's like, what? How am I supposed to
Yeah.
get to know myself? Yeah, I know myself. Like, I know how tall I am, and I know what my hair color is. Like, what does that mean? Get to know yourself.
Right.
And so like slowly uncovering all of that, what it meant, and feeling the feeling, like going in it.
Yes.
My co-host, podcast co-host used to say, through it is the way to it. And really, that's what it is.
That is true.
You have to go through it, and
Yeah.
there's really no other way around it. Even though it sucks and it's sad, and also there's no linear path. There's no like, okay, I'm working, and I'm gonna get better. No,
Right.
there's days where I go back. There's days
course.
where I'm sad. There's days when
Yes.
it all comes back, and there's days where I am good in a certain aspect, but I'm not good in a certain aspect.
That's perfectly normal.
That's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
And but those type of things I didn't know because my mind was always being a student and working in as a scientist researcher. I'm all more about logical and more about numbers and more about making sense and all of that. So I had to kind of undo all of my scientific academic learnings that I have done too, in order to really be able to believe in the guidance and the spirituality and the faith that I need to give, and just kind of be like, okay, I can trust the unknown, like I'm not seeing the logical sense in this,
Yeah.
but I can just trust it. And that's what I did when I moved. I did my big move. I moved like 1,000 miles away from where
Yeah, that's awesome.
where I lived, and it was just a big jump and a big leap. But I was like, okay, unknown, scary, but I will do it. And now there's whole I don't know if you're familiar or not, but there's this whole research now coming out in the scientific world of quantum mechanics, where they are uncovering the ability of meditation and the scientific proof of it, and the quantum mechanics of, if you think happy thoughts, and if you really try to control your not happy thoughts, but more in the sense of acknowledge thoughts, don't
And like
judge them.
positive.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Don't judge them. The thought comes in, like, thoughts of unworthiness all the time. I get like, oh, look at you. Do you think you're all that? You're gonna do a business? Like, you cannot do a business. Like, I get these type of thoughts, but not judging them, just like feeling them, acknowledging them. It's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from
Yeah.
a place of worrying, which has a place of its own. And so now there are a lot of scientists doing research on this, is where you acknowledge the thoughts. And so they're putting people in, like, doing their brain scans and stuff like that, where they recognize the thoughts, and then do meditation on it, and then do meditation on what you want to change that thought into, so what you want to change that belief into, and slowly over time what it does to your body, and the studying of chakras. I don't know if you're familiar with chakras. So how the chakras are scientifically energy getting released. So now they're also measuring energy inside our body now. So that's what I'm studying now. It's blowing away my mind. It
Wow.
is amazing. Yeah, you should look into it, because
Wow.
it is not being taught in schools. It is not being taught out in the mainstream. I feel like it's like the people who are in it know it. Of course, it's a huge number of people who are doing research on it, and a huge number of people like me who are following this research on it. But I feel like there's still mainstream, this information is not out there on that, how we can change the function of our genes by thoughts, by meditation, by doing new and different things.
That's pretty powerful. Makes sense though.
Right?
Makes sense.
It makes total sense, because yes, our genes, our DNA makes a protein, right? Which actually makes makes disease, let's say, right? but there is something that tells that DNA to replicate. What is that thing?
Right.
What is that thing? So it's like going a layer behind where
Mhm.
science didn't really go before. And there's really some great neuroscientists who are doing that work now. Yeah, Dr. Joe Dispenza is a really, really big neuroscientist in this now. And it's also, there are also those scientists who are like, no, like the ones who are
course.
stuck in the old school
Yeah.
and mentality. And it's kind of, for them, it's kind of like, it's a blow on their work,
Sure.
because but it doesn't negate their work. Their work is all still real. It's just, it's just a little bit broader. So
Did you ever think that you'd end up being a person that other women could look up to?
no, I didn't think
Yeah.
that. No,
And now look, you're
I always
empowering
thought,
women and
I thought that I would do
coaching.
more of like, because I wanted to do that equality thing with men. That was, a lot of it was coming from my ego when I was growing up, and I would
Yeah.
see women not being treated equally. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to earn the same money as you earn. So I thought that part, maybe women can look up to, in that I could earn the same money and I can show them and then they can do it.
Uh-huh.
But I was wrong. It's like, I don't even want to do that anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So,
But I think with what you've shown, the things that you've done, they're going to see that, because you did do that. You were doing that even before you started to heal yourself.
yeah.
So on your podcast, is that what you guys do? Is it for like empowering women? And
It is about empowering women, and it's about talking about the cultural issues. It's more a little bit focused on the culture too, the things that we face in our culture and how we can change them. Yeah. But we've actually stopped the podcast now. We don't do it anymore.
Aw.
Yeah, I know. It was virtual, and she's in
Okay.
Canada. I'm in the US. So it was becoming really hard, and I want to do in person now. And so
Yeah.
and then I was moving, and my divorce got final, and so I'm taking a break now.
Okay.
And then I want to finish my coaching certification.
Yeah, and then you need to
And
start
then I'll
doing
see
that
what
again.
to do.
Yeah.
Where to go
Yeah.
from it. But it was a great learning experience for me, and it was great for me to get my the shyness out of the
Yeah.
way, and just
Right.
being able to talk in front of a camera, and being able to talk
Because
about.
it's not easy.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it looks easy though.
Right.
It
I know,
looks
but it's
easy.
not.
It's not easy at all. It's really hard.
Yeah.
So it was a good learning experience for me.
Wow, good for you. Do you know what you're going to call the coaching business? Just your name?
No, I'm
or-
calling it Inner Quality.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm calling it Inner Quality, and the reason behind that is I work in the clinical research field that I work in. My role is in quality, so we have I do quality control, and I have to make
Yeah.
sure that everyone else, the work that they're doing, is per quality. And so even at work, what I see is that it all really kind of stems from what we are on the inside, how we show up. So
Mhm.
all of this work has really transformed my work life as well. Like I
Yeah.
have gotten so much better at leading at work, and just leading more authentically, and
Mhm.
leading with gentleness, understanding, more sincerity, and not like being authoritative. And so it's really changed me at work also, and helped actually to become more successful at work. Yeah.
I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you. I know, it's really awesome. So my message for your audience is about the monsters that we face. Really, we need to start with our internal monsters. I feel like those are the biggest monsters, that if we can conquer our own monsters, all of the other monsters that are in our life, we will be able to easily deal with them.
Love that message.
Yeah.
Straight to the point too, right?
Yeah,
It is.
right.
I mean, and it's the truth.
Yeah. Because
Wow.
I hate to now get into the blame game, and say, oh, I was put through this, I was put through this long marriage where I did this and I did this and I did this, and I was the victim,
Right.
because I was doing that for the longest time. And in the beginning, also, when I initiated my divorce process, when I was telling my friends and family, I was coming off as a complete victim, as in,
Mhm.
I did this and this and this, and he didn't do this, and he did all of this to me. He was doing what he thought best. He grew up in whatever way he did, and of course, he has his own issues which he should deal with. And he was doing the best that he can given his abilities.
Yeah.
And what I did is what I need to be responsible of. What I did was I hid the truth, I numbed my own pain. I lied to my friends and family about being okay. I try to do other things, like, I would buy things. Like, buying things made me feel better at the moment. Like, it was
Yeah.
a great, like, hit of dopamine for the time.
I
And
still do that. I'll
I
own
still
it.
do it too.
I'll own it.
No, honestly, I still do it too.
Yeah.
It is really helpful too. But getting out of that victim mindset
Yeah.
has been a very big empowerment move for me too, because you got to own it. You can't
Yes.
just constantly keep on blaming somebody else with the situation. Like, they did this to me, they did this to me, they did this to me. Yes, but I have accountability for what I did
Right.
and how I dealt with the situation.
Because sometimes we also let them do it and
exactly.
continue to let
Oh,
them do it.
totally.
And that's on us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the accountability piece,
Yeah.
is where did you let it happen? And the fact that I started working extra hard, right?
Mhm.
I started working extra hard, so he started working less because I was doing more.
Right.
Who told me to do work for as much as 3 people work, because I took it on. So
Yeah.
that's on me. I didn't need to do that. And that's where I had to learn to create my boundaries, that's where the boundaries, and that's been one of the very tough things, and I'm still struggling with that, because it's really hard for me. And I think it has, it's partially to do with the way I was raised and my
course.
cultural upbringings, with being able to say no,
Mhm.
really raising the boundaries, and my friend circle that I have, even raising boundaries with my friends,
Mhm.
like saying, okay, this is unacceptable for me. I will be available for this and I will not be available for this. You can
Yeah.
use me for this. You cannot use me for this, because I protect my energy and I protect my time. I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that.
Oh, I'm sure that's tough for you because you were a people pleaser too.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's really tough. Yeah. I'm still very much
Takes
learning
time.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Take time.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my best friends constantly tells me, she's like, this person is using you. And I'm like, but I love her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We make excuses too. And
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
but you've come a long way for sure.
I've come a long way for sure. And what I've realized is that you can find help for a lot of these things, like there is
Yes.
so much help nowadays. And for us to be where we are in this day and age with internet, like, it is a huge blessing. Of course,
Right.
it has the cons. And so the way I use it, and I've really worked on my usage of social media as well. Like, I have cut out all news, because I felt like news was really, I'm putting this negative stuff inside of me. I'm
And then you
putting
get
this
sucked into it and go down the
Yes.
rabbit hole and yeah.
completely.
just-
And you scroll through people's pictures and the way everybody's beautiful lives are
Yes.
looking, and then you want to look like that good too when you're doing your postings. And so I've really developed my way of using social media for it to work for me, how I want it to be for me and what I want
That's
out of it.
smart.
Yeah, so I started using that, doing that, and being and these resources that are out there. There are so many coaches, and there's so many women coaches now who are offering so much free advice, like the podcast
Wow.
like yours.
Yeah.
It's also a great help to go on it and listen, and to see how other people were able to get out of
Right.
their situations, and it's all free.
Yeah.
There's so many podcasts
Yeah.
on YouTube
Oh,
about
yeah.
this kind of stuff. There's books which don't even cost that much.
Right.
There's other apps like the Clubhouse, and there's like so much now that we have, which I feel like think about it from our parents' time, right? They didn't have all of this, and they had a different set of problems to
Yeah.
deal with, which they did a great job in doing what they had to do at that time. What was it, like the Industrial Revolution and like all that stuff that was going on, and
Yeah.
like the war and stuff like that. And we have our own set of problems, where I feel like our problems are, a lot of it is mental health is one of the
Mhm.
biggest problems that we have to deal
For
with,
sure. I agree 100% on that.
right?
Yeah.
And dealing with that, and then using that to develop yourself,
Mhm.
and then to become who you want to become, and then be able to live that, like create your life, and that's beautiful, to have an opportunity to create the person you want to be.
Well, see, you're a wonderful example of that.
Yeah. I'm still working on my creation vision of
Yeah.
me, because it's still kind of very new, and I'm still coming out of it.
Well, and now you can breathe.
Yes.
Like that has to be, because your adrenaline's going, for 5 years, you're dealing with the court and dealing with all this craziness. And then now you're not.
Yeah.
It's like you might not even know what to do with yourself for a minute.
Oh my
just
gosh, that's
because, you have time now to actually think.
Yeah. So much of that. And that was also very scary, honestly. It was kind of like, what do I do now? Like, who am I going
Yeah.
to be? And that was also became so scary in what if I fail?
Right.
What if I do a mistake again?
But
Um,
what if you don't, right?
what if I don't? And even if I do a mistake, it's gonna be an experience, you know. And I
Absolutely.
have done in these 4 years, I've done stupid things, you know. Like
We all do.
it was all a learning. It was
Learning,
all a
yeah.
learning, and I learned from it. But I realized when I was doing the same things that I did do in my marriage, you know. So I've been able to pick up on that, and that's one of the biggest pieces too that we have to come to realize is the awareness. Whereas don't get stuck in that autopilot again. Don't get stuck
Yeah.
in those following the same conditioning that you have been doing all along, because life will keep on bringing you in the same situations, and
Mhm.
you have to be able to choose differently than you did the first time. So it's been when I am now, you know, like in the kind of like in this unknown territory, it's so scary, and the thoughts of fear are all the time coming to me, and it's kind of like floating without having a ground,
Yeah.
kind of a feeling.
I always call that, like, when I feel like that, I'm always
Mhm.
like, it feels like what the Twilight Zone would feel like. That's
Yeah.
that just kind of like an eerie, like you said, floaty, like,
Yeah.
I get it.
You get
I
it?
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's scary as hell.
And you're
It's
like,
like,
I gotta make the right decisions. And
yeah.
yeah.
And it's like, what do I do? Where am I? Who
Right.
am I? Like,
Right.
like all of that I've done and I've erased, and I don't want to be. And
Yeah.
where do I go now? Where do I become?
Just keep going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's also the exciting part of it is
Right.
that I can become whoever I want to become.
Yes.
But can I develop the abilities and the confidence and the courage to do that? And so that's
Of
one of
course
the
you
works, and
can.
of course I can.
Yes.
Yes. So that's one of the works that I'm doing now. But again, there's all of this is help out there.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I did when I went on Clubhouse and I realized that there's help out there was mind blowing for me. Even 'cause I didn't know, you know, like
Yeah.
just being so involved in kids and family, and like living that autopilot and being stuck in my mind. And I used to also get these really bad migraines. Like I had
Oh.
really bad migraines the entire 17 years. And I think that was my body telling me, you know, it's you got to do something. Like, you know, it was a lot of stress in my mind. And so I would have these really bad episodes of migraine. And since I did the divorce, it's completely gone. It's
Wow.
completely gone and never came back. It's so weird on how that happened. But I'm just like, oh my God, I haven't
Stress
gotten
can
a
do some
migraine.
crazy stuff.
It can really affect your health.
Yeah.
And you know what? So now all the new science stuff too, is discovering 90% of diseases are caused by stress. The underlying cause of 90% of diseases is stress, which is mind-blowing because
I'm in trouble. It makes sense though.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's something that's fixable.
Yeah.
It's something that's totally treatable.
Right.
And yet, you know, I am in the pharmaceutical industry myself. And so I will say that the pharmaceutical industry is not focusing on that because
Right.
it's not going to earn them that much money.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to earn the money is that pill that people are going to take.
Exactly.
So the focus
Yeah.
is not going to be on meditation
Right.
or like breathing exercises.
Any kind of self-help.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. Totally, yeah. But you know, being in it, I realize it, and that's also one of the reasons why I want to work in the coaching field, is because I realize how much pharmaceuticals are not helpful. You know,
Yeah.
I do need to keep that job because I need to pay my bills, right?
Right. Right.
But the team that I work for and the company that I work for does have ethical standards, which I do like, and so that's why I stay there.
That's
Because
so
you know
important.
we make sure that the clinical research that we do is helpful, and we work in rare disease. But I used to work for companies where it was not a priority, you know, where profit is more of a priority. But that also kind of pushed me to be more ambitious towards this coaching goal that I have now that I want to work towards.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was also a spiritual guidance for me, because how did I end up in the pharmaceutical industry where I wanted to grow up and become a doctor? And
Yeah.
I fell in this, and now I went through that, and now I see how you're not healing from taking that antidepressant
Yeah.
medicine. And so you can heal through these ways and you can fix your diseases. And these scientists are also showing in the work that they're doing that people have actually cured their cancer. People have cured many diseases, mostly autoimmune diseases, mostly stem from stress a lot. And so people are curing this right and left now. Like, it's so much of work has been happening in this
amazing.
field. Yeah, it's a lot. And so I feel like it was like a perfect design for me to come together in both of these fields. So that these kind of things, when I realize this kind of stuff, it puts me more in awe and in more be able to trust more, be able to have faith even more. So it's really, really like a blessing. I'm so grateful to have that awareness.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
Thank you for listening.
Go empowerment.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Go empowerment. And not just for women too. I feel like men have their own issues and men have their own empowerment stuff that they, I can't speak to that, but
Right.
I can understand it and I can see it. It does exist. Yeah.
Well,
They have their
thank you.
own.
You're
Thank you
awesome.
for
That was so
listening.
good.